to demonstrate understanding and ability to lead this change and to contribute to solving some of the most pressing Nigerian and global issues. In the year ahead, the Council, under my leadership, will press forward with all its strategic initiatives designated to further reposition the Institute so that it can continue to produce future-ready chartered economists for the local and global economy. Professional colleagues, we have a strategic priority to position IC as essential for good governance, administrative transparency, and democratic accountability. We have a lot to offer to governments, businesses, and to the broader community as they wrestle with the issues of the modern world economy. And if we do it right, I know our contributions will be welcome and appreciated. But let's not forget, we are a global organization, united by our values and rich in talent. If each of us puts in what we can, we will find that we can get what we need. Time to do the talk is now. Time to move from theory to practice is now. Once again, I welcome you all to another exciting, intellectually rewarding and entertaining IC National Conference 2021. It would undoubtedly meet your expectations for correct and in-depth analysis of various relevant subjects. God bless you all. Professor Geoffrey, Senate President, IC.
Thank you very much, Professor Geoffrey, for that brilliant presidential speech. We really appreciate you for summarizing your speech. Thank you very much. Without wasting much of our time, I want to quickly go to the first resource person to be presented today. It's no other person than Dr. Valentin Felix is taking us through the role of legislature in development policies implementation in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite Dr. Valentin Felix to please present this. So please, let's give him a round of applause.
I think I will just try to establish and remain on the protocol of the Honorable Chairman and the President of this August body ISM, the Director General and the CEO of the Institute, and my high table colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Felix, Dr. Felix. My paper is here, and looking at the paper, it's actually a contribution that I did. So I'm not going to make it a lecture. I'm just going to speak through it. The reason is that you will have time to read it. Everybody is busy, but the idea is that as a lot more people begin to get understanding of the dynamics of government, it will give us the impetus to respectfully and politely challenge government and also make contribution to the direction of government. The paper is to look at the role of the legislature. Once you talk of the legislature, you're talking of the democratic system. In all the governance system, the legislature is what defines democracy. You can have the judiciary and you can have the executive in a military system, but the legislature, once the legislature comes in, it defines that you now have the people, because legislature apparently represents the people. And then in the simple definition of democracy, it's a government that is purely people-centered to ensure that the people well-being, the people safety, the people security is centered at the government Briefly on introduction, what I captured here is to just bring to the fore the present global scenario. The COVID-19 is now almost becoming COVID-21, COVID-22. It's refusing to go. It has its own economics of enriching the vaccine producers, but it's consistently impoverishing the rest of the people through the lockdowns, through social, distancing, and a lot of other things that it has, added to the world poor. COVID, as at 2020, has added almost close to 100 million new poor people into the global poverty. As we speak, the global population of extreme poverty, which is the population that is living below $1.9, can you imagine, $1.9 per day, it's almost 800 million. Out of these 800 million, Africa is contributing close to 500 million. Out of this 500 million, Nigeria is contributing close to 100 million. And sadly, Nigeria has refused to leave the title of the poverty capital of the world. And that is just what you see in introduction, just to capture that, when you are having poverty of the people for which sake the government is enshrined, then the government needs to now start paying attention to the people. The government is for the people, by the people, and so once the people are getting poorer, then the mantle of leadership as the government will now begin to face. There has been series of efforts globally, but then COVID-19, COVID-20, COVID-21 is increasing. There is a forecast which you will see if you go through, that Africa, sadly, while there is a forecast that by 2021-22 the global poverty population will decline, but the only reason it's declining by about 16 to 20 million is because Africa is refusing to decline. The poverty of Africa will increase to almost about 470, close to 500 million, and that is a concern. And this is because the poverty of Nigeria is increasing, and so that is the basis for the discussion. Now the question is, what is the legislature, the people representative? In a democracy, the legislature is the ambassador of the people. They represent the people, they represent your voice, and your pains are their pains. Now, briefly, you will see the political history and governance structure of Nigeria. Up until 1960, and even up until 1963, when we had the Republican Constitution, the Queen is still the head of government of this country. And so it was not really a government for Nigerian people. I will not bore you with the constitutional history, but from Clifford's Constitution of 1922 down to Latitude Constitution of 1954, and even up to the Independent Constitution, it's only at the Republican Constitution of 1963 that the people of Nigeria started governing themselves, started saying, let us take our life. And so while in Africa is talking about repatriation and all that, reparation and all that, I have a different school of thought that if you took over your governance since 1963, I'm not sure very many people here were born in 1963. Anyone born in 1963 is already 58 years, right? So for 58 years, we've been ruling ourselves. And so I wouldn't really want to blame, the colonizers, except that we recolonize ourselves. Now, when Nigeria got the 63, of course, within a short period, we got into a civil war, 1967. And then we came out and then tried to restructure. But yet, the country was still running as if it's a foreign country. So you have time to read. It was still running as if it's a foreign country. There is a lot of military intervention, taking over the power from the people, which is almost like the colonial era, where the Nigerian people do not have a say in government. Once military comes, the people are subdued.
And so I guess the problem we're having now, even though we are having civilian democracy, because we attempted a military democracy with, Ibrahim Babangida, he tried a military, a diarchy system, where you have the military presidents and the civilian people, but that wasn't really very successful. And so until 1979 Constitution, which is the reverse of another Republic Nigeria, and that brought in the federal system. So under the military, of course, it's a unitary system, everything goes straight and the military system. So the legislatures, of course, have no rule, have no right, have no voice. And once there is no legislation, then it means there is no people. And so whatever happens is more like the queen ruling from England. That is what I also look at the military. When there is a military, it's a foreign government, it's not a people government. And then the 1979 Constitution came in and introduced the federal system, and then allow people to now begin to discuss. The paper is to look at, since 1979, what has happened. It hasn't been also very successful. I try to also explain, because we are an economist, so you cannot talk about development policy without gradual, just simply separating economic growth and economic development. They are not the same. The economic development are for the developing people, while economic growth are those who have developed their resources, and so they are now growing. Now, so I worry that since 1963 that we've been handling, and if you look at the post-independent Nigerian section, you see a transition, and we are going to look at the economic situation of Nigeria. You see the transition. We are a very wealthy country, so ideally, by now, we should be a developed economy, and Nigeria should be among even the first 16. Today, you have 16 economies that are $1 trillion economy. Indonesia, $1 trillion economy. Nigeria is still 400 something, but yet poverty is not allowing us to grow. So economic development is to be able to gather the people, your resources, define trajectory, and ensure that the well-being of the people are pulled out of poverty, the people are pulled out of insecurity, the people are pulled out of safety, unsafe conditions, the people are pulled out of all kinds of distractions and discussions. Now theories began to come. You will see on page 5, I like this, on page 5, that chart that I put, institutional influence in every country must have a very structured institution. And then sadly, Nigeria has not been well blessed with very concrete institutions. Here you will see the Koreans, the North and the South Koreans, who we are together. You can see the economy were the same until they became North and South. And then the North ran a different institutional framework. The South went through a democratic, simple, Western capitalist structure. And today, South Korea is, North Korea is one of the poorest. Nigeria is richer than North Korea anyway. But North Korea is one of the poorest, secluded, isolated economy in the world. But look at their twin brother. South Korea is at the top of the economy. That's institutions. And so those are the reasons the legislature role has to be very firm in a democratic society. If you look at the Nigerian economic situation, I just captured how we came an agrarian society. Everything was working on fine. And then oil came, the oil boom came. Some of us who were young kids then in 1973, those of us when primary school then, when Udoji came, we wore a t-shirt, and then there is a man hand on his palm, and then the government then said their problem was not money, but how to spend. And so we wasted. We are economists, so we know what is the Dutch disease. The Dutch disease crept into Nigeria, and then we all went into wasting. And up till now, we are still on the roller coaster ride of the Dutch disease. That even producing, somebody published a paper, it's not here, that he was comparing Nigeria with other oil producing countries from 1973 to 2020, we have been at 2 million barrels since that time. Our highest production was 2.5. Right now we are 1.4. There's next year that will be about 1.8. And we used to be 2 million. But all the nations that were making that oil with us, USA, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, all of them literally doubled, tripled their crude oil production. So those are some of the challenges we have in institutional democracy. And if you look at the economy, while my president said we are just out of recession, I call it, if you look at page 6, I call it intensive care units. You know, the economy is an intensive care unit. Why is it intensive care unit? Because the economy is, while diversification is going on, economy is still heavily dependent on petrodollar. You know, petrodollar is still contributing more than 60% of our revenue, almost 80-90% of our FX, and as of recent FX, the exchange rate went to 522 naira to $1. The CBN and the bankers are here. I read this morning, yesterday or this morning, that the bankers are saying they are going to bring it down to 432. And we're all economists, and I said, what is the basis? What is the basis? Because currency is not just a computer program. Currency is not just what you want, how you want it. There have to be a framework, there have to be a basis. And some of us, we haven't seen that basis. Even though we are out of recession just because, you know, first quarter growth 0.51 and all that, it is still very precarious. If anything goes wrong at the global oil market, the economy is very much likely to slip into recession again. That is why we said it is still in a recession. If you look at the debt situation, that is a chart you will see on page 6. Our debt profile is going on, and as economists, you know, though the government says that our debt GDP ratio, yeah, you have a GDP of 465 with a debt, but yet the critical factor in debt management is your revenue debt. How much revenue you make and how much of that revenue you assign. Nigeria is using almost 90% of our revenue to service debt, and what is left for all other projects. That's why we keep borrowing and borrowing. And even though the debt profile is going on, the legislature, our focus today, recently, July 7th, I think we know that, approved additional, 2.3 trillion, 2.3 trillion naira to add to the debt profile. So increasingly, our debt is increasing. And then we are all economists. We are looking at an expansionary system. If you have debt, then definitely there should be some growth. You should go into growth projects, not necessarily to use debt to service recurrent and operational things. You have to create a structure that can create capital accumulation so that investment and so it's begin to go through an economic cycle. So that is our duty as economists, to be able to watch this. Now, one other thing that you will see in an 2021 Economic Freedom Index, sadly, out of the 178 countries that were ranked, Nigeria was ranked as highly unfree economy. So our economy is not, that is on page 7, in 2021 by the Heritage Foundation and the Wall Street Economic Freedom Ranking. We ranked 105 out of 178, and then even in Africa, 47 countries were ranked, and then we are number 13. We are not even the first. You have the super economies like the Rwanda and the Botswana and all of that. So we are worried that our economy is not free. Now, economic freedom is just simply, ability, for society, for individuals to be free to go about the economic without unnecessary restraint, constraint, intimidation, frustration, and obstacle. And it's showing that Nigerians don't have the liberty to engage in free economic enterprise. And that is where the legislators also need to pay attention, that if we are not free to carry out economic enterprise, how will the country move away from poverty? And then, of course, we know the ease of doing business. Recently, I think some people are already saying that the World Bank should take it out. that you probably have served this, but it's becoming a very economic index. Nigeria also is not doing very well. 131 out of 190 countries that we are, but we still have the super African economies like Rwanda, almost like the first world. There are about 5-6 economies in Africa that IMF, World Bank are already looking at. They are going to traject into first world economy. And I am sad here because we have the people. The reason China is where they are, because China is, if you look at 2021 GDP ranking, India is already up. They are using their population. China have used this population. China is 16 trillion economy. India is almost a 3 point something. Like it's going to beat, Germany is going to beat Japan, and it's going to be next to China, and they're going to wrestle the top economy from the US. China is already 16. And so by 2025, if they continue this way, they are going to be the biggest economy. They are using their people. We have 207, 208 million people. Sadly, we haven't been able to use. So in ease of doing business, economic freedom, all of these are challenges. And then of course, sadly also, we have not been well ranked in the recent corruption index. We are still being ranked at 149 out of 180. And even in the global index for women enterprise, Nigeria also hasn't done, even our gender economic ranking, Nigeria also hasn't done very well. Now I'm talking purely on the people factor, which is where the legislators are concerned. That if the people are this subdued, then the legislator, who are the ambassadors of the people, needs to start thinking. And that is why I had the time to put this paper, because mine is not to read it as a lecture, but to leave it as a contribution to knowledge. And the references are there, almost about 50, 60 references. People can actually start looking at these things, like how do we move forward? How do we, in terms of security challenges, we can see the rate of kidnapping is becoming, an econometric model. You can now start modeling kidnapping versus GDP, kidnapping versus all kinds of, where economists, prof, So, it's becoming a chart. Once people started plotting the rate of kidnapping, and that is not a good thing for us. And so when you begin to see this, they form part of the economic discourse. They form part of the economic thinking. That how can a country like Nigeria start introducing the rate of kidnapping, and then start plotting kidnapping versus GDP growth, kidnapping versus this? It doesn't really augur well for our side. And that is also where we are not, I won't bore you that, you will see that. And then National Development Plan, that is page 9. I call it, National Development Experimentation. If you read it, and everybody have known Nigeria for very intellectual plans. So go through, you see from the colonial era, 1946 to 1950, how they attempted to bring a development plan for this country, but that is purely, a foreign model. It didn't work. But now my challenge is, since we took over governance from 1963 through the Republican Constitution, then all things being equal, we should be able to pragmatically, deal with our development issues. But one of the weaknesses of our development philosophy is that we are still appendages to our colonial masters. The Nigerian development scenario hasn't really looked at the local context. It's still looking at as if we are developed. It's like we are the giant of African model. Population, yes, but not economy. And we need to really come down to, that is the issue of development plan. Development plan is that you need to really look at the grassroots. You need to really look, and that is why one of the people like Kundayo was challenged. He was challenging that Nigeria still use the trickle down way economy, trickle down development. That is that the rich, those who are rich, should pass it down to the poor. But that economic model cannot work because the rich don't pay tax. Just recently, I was reading that even this richest man, what's his name? No, not Nigeria. The man that went to space. Amazon chief. Yeah, he is for almost 3 or 4 years he hasn't paid tax. You understand? So if he doesn't pay, all these rich men don't pay tax. Trump, his problem was he wasn't paying tax. So that is why trickle down economics is not working. Because if the rich accumulate and instead of paying tax, they go to space, you understand that how can it work to reach the poor people? You know, so that model was completely taken off. And then what is now acceptable is where you have to bring the right-based approach. The right-based approach is that you look at the marginalized, the poor, the downtrodden, and what is their economic demand, what is going to pull them out. And Nigeria really needs to do development planning right from the bottom, not from the top up, because we are poor and we have to accept it. Because our GDP, for me, already right now, you know, globally, we have professors here, globally, GDP, if you Google and all that metric, GDP is gone. You understand? It's not the right measure of economic, you know, development and nothing. Because GDP is for the rich people. It's a capitalist structure. You know, they keep amassing. 2-3 people can create GDP for this country, and the rest are poor. That is why almost 100 million Nigerians are living below 1.9. Now, if you move it from 1.9 to 3.2, then, Prof, you can see how many people are. But if you move from 3.2 to 5, you know, you have 1.9, 3.2, and 5. Then Nigeria, almost like 90% of Nigerians will be poor people. And so we need a development scenario where we will have to start working from the bottom up. Who are not free to participate as economic citizens of this country. We need to know what will the people require to have a country of 200 and something million people. We are one of the poorest, you know, we call power poverty, you know, we are so poor in power. We are generating about 12 gigawatts, but transmitting, every time you see 2, you see 3, you see 4, 200 million people are sharing just 3 gigawatts of power. And so generator now, thank God solar is here, so everybody is building solar power, and they are thinking solar is more like energy transition. And I told them, no, solar is not energy transition. Solar is meeting power gap. Everybody is an independent generator. You put a solar panel, you put an inverter, and you can have a little bit of power to do your business. So those are the things that development planning should actually begin to consider. So you will see factors responsible for repeated failure of Nigerian development planning is purely Eurocentric, is purely, you know, it's a deceptive model where we think that we are the giant of Africa, we are matching with developed economy. We are not. We need to plan it with the people, we need to plan it with the downtrodden, we need to bring, you know, everybody to the economic planning table. And that is why the federal government or the federalism needs to really work. Because I ask myself, do local government people have any economic planning model? Local government that they just voted in, do they understand what the economy of local government is? My president, we have a lot of work to do. Now, you know, me and you keep talking on these things. Is there any local government economic? Obasanjo tried seed and lead, and it died. So the lead should actually have empowered the local government to begin to think of their own resources within the local government, to begin to, so that they don't depend on the sharing formula from Abuja. When everybody of the 36 states, only 31 of them are depending on Abuja. Just very few, Lagos, you know, Rivers State, and a few, about 5 or 6 states can actually generate, you know, IGR that can sustain, meet their internal needs. The rest have to wait for Abuja allocation. And so every time the federal government is under stress and strain to be able to allocate money for states to pay their salary. But if we had seed and lead, the state government will also be involved in global economic, because development planning must be pragmatic, global in vision, especially in the global village concept that we live now, where if China sneezes with coronavirus, America will shut down. So we are living in a global system where you cannot isolate yourself. We are purely a visual world. Today, everybody knows what is going on in Japan. If something is happening, look at coronavirus, a shutdown. Look at US moving away from Afghanistan. If you look at the indexes, you begin to see inflation. The markets are becoming very perfect. That a little distortions is in any area, there is a disequilibrium in the market. So, you know, planning has to be very, that is also why one of the things about, you know, development policies is that there must be consistency collaboration and concurrency in development planning model, because you cannot actually stay somewhere in Abuja and plan for the local government man. You can't get it out. And even though you plan, he will not implement it because he was not part of the plan. He doesn't know your basis, he doesn't know your metrics, and that is where the National Assembly comes in. They represent the people. We have the House of Rep, we have the Senate, the bicameral system, which was reintroduced in the 1979 Constitution, so that everybody, and then of course 1979 Constitution also empowered the local government structure. Unfortunately, if you see page 14, we have some reasons for, over optimistic expectations. These are some of our problems. We think, sometimes I worry when we say we'll produce 2 million barrels of oil per day. And I said, how? When you don't have the quota? How can you plan your budget on what you don't have? And how can you plan your expenditure on what you don't have? And how can you borrow on what you don't have? So it's a major challenge. So we are too over optimistic. So we really need, that is why I see my president and my director, I've always said, our business is to make sure the government is realistic and factual. Economy cannot be done without facts and figures. Economics we do with econometrics. And if you want to run a simple econometric, you can see all kinds of data that you need. You understand? You have to go through all kinds of things. So we need big data mindset. To do our budget is not what somebody multiply 3 times 7 times 20. It's not going to work. And so implementation of dispersed governance, this is one of the problems. The problem is that the government is not coherent because they are not in a group. Everybody is fighting everybody. And so if the federal government announces a budget, they are even on the concurrent list, you understand, where they are supposed to work together, they'll be fighting among them. So those are the things that the National Assembly needs to really come to play. And of course, we have inadequate collaborative policy making. I agree. We see where the Senate President, I agree with him that in the National Assembly, he said his focus is that there must be collaboration. And I agree that actually while the legislature is playing the watchdog role, it must also ensure that it has to collaborate with the executives. But the worry is that collaboration should not become sub-service. Collaboration should not become rubber stamp. Collaboration should not become everything the executive brings, you just do because you have to do it. Collaboration means we agree and disagree and agree and move forward, but not in contentions and in all strains and to shut down and to want to every time. I'm not sure, even though they have the power to impeach, I'm not sure impeachment is the right tool for governance. It requires a lot of legislative processes and governance processes. So you cannot put the executive every time that I want to impeach you. You can't get anything out of it. And remember, they are the chief of all the forces, so they can withdraw your things and then there's trouble. And then we have degrees of policy cycle. Now, one problem in the country is that there is lack of continuity. I was discussing with a friend that one state, I live in Lagos State, I've been there for more than 20 years. One state that I respect is Lagos State. Lagos State has a continuity model. Whether, I don't know, but Lagos State I lift my hand for Lagos State. There is a state that if this governor starts to lay bricks here, the next governor will come and complete it. Many other states, if this governor lay foundation, the next governor will lay another foundation. And then another governor will not even lay foundation, he will plant 3 on the other side. So it's not working for, and this is where the legislators need to say, hey, come, we are supposed to be the people ambassadors. Why is it that there is no continuity in all the states? Because the National Assembly also has jurisdiction over legislative over the state assemblies. It's not everything. The state cannot rule 100% without differing. So the National Assembly really need to say, look, why is it that your state A governor comes and he cannot continue. Can we sit down to see that there is consistency, collaboration, and continuity in governance across the 36 states of this country, and even at the federal level? But I don't want to bore you on the development plan. You will see, if you take time to look at the development plan, you will see that every new government have a different development agenda. Every new government at the federal structure have a different development agenda, and that this is our agenda, this is what we want to pursue. And as soon as they leave, like as you know, the president's agenda now, I hope and I pray that as his tenure is coming, there will be a continuity of all the vision he has, that regardless of who gets to power, but unfortunately, I can also tell you that it might not, 50% of the chance, they might not continue in his vision. And then a new strategy for successful policy implementation, policy tracking. I've been going through a lot of, I said, when the National Assembly passes a bill and it's back to an act and it's received presidential assent, what happens? Somehow, what I stumbled on was the emphasis wasn't really on the implementation, but on the volumes of bills that were passed. I was trying to see what is the oversight role in the implementation. What is the role of the legislature after you pass a bill? Do you follow through the bill? Is the, you know, you will see there is some statistics I have there when we go there, the performance of the National Assembly, that sometimes a bill gets to the president and the president throws it away, and then so you have 300 bills that go to the president and he finally assents 30, so about 230 bills are in comatose. And God help that National Assembly leaves. Then a new assembly comes, the 10th assembly will not even talk about the 270 that the president rejected. So those are some of the challenges. So tracking, policy tracking on page 15, implementation support, and then post-implementation review. These are all the roles that you that did the formulation, you also must. And we were not very comfortable that some of these successful policy strategies were not very visible in the Nigerian structure. The roles of the legislature in development policy implementation are almost literally, you will take time and read it because it's a good research work that I have here. But I'll just quickly tell you that evolution of the Nigerian legislature from the Lagos Council down up to the Republican, where we get to, you know, where we are free from the Union Jack, and then of course the 1979 Constitution that gave us full federalism and bicameral, you know, structure, the Senate, and then of course the House of Rep, and also you have the state executive governors and then the state assemblies. You know, so structurally, the 79 Constitution, you know, has its own lapses, but actually it's a people-oriented. Of course, then the 1999 Constitution, of course, we had the 2014 Constitution review, and then there's still another constitutional framework. So the question is, when are we going to have a constitution for the people? And so you will see that, and because of that, there is a lot of confusion, inconsistency in the legislative framework of the country. And so benchmarks and their performances are not necessarily implementation, but to pass the bill. Page 18, performance of the Nigerian legislators, you will see they have the powers to do a lot of things. I must tell you, this is section 4 of the 1999 Constitution. They have the power, they have a lot of ambits to be able to you know, enforce implementation. Because how can you pass a bill and the president have practiced as a law, and then the legislature is not following to see that this thing we passed, where is it, who is it, how is it, sit down to look at the next one. So far, it hasn't been a very, very successful. There are a lot of bills that have been passed. I'll let you, you know, on page 19, I captured in the last paragraph, I said, The National Assembly prides itself more in introduction and passage of bills as the key performance index, while they pay less attention to the number of bills that finally receive presidential access and the eventual implementation of these laws. They technically do not score themselves in how many of these bills receive presidential assent and the subsequent implementation of these laws for the benefit of the Nigerian people. In their own language, they start, they are saying we are better than the last assembly because we passed more bills. And we said, yeah, good, you passed more bills, but how many of them became law and how many of them are implemented? Those are the challenges we have. And in conclusion, we take time to read because I just want to. In conclusion, this paper has only shown the deep-seated problem that have refused to go. A country that is living in total self-denial of its core national responsibilities by all stakeholders, from the executive, the legislators, the judicial, and even the governed or the electors. Our failure as a nation is the failure of all the stakeholders. Though the paper addresses the role of the legislators in development policy implementation and their failure to carry out their oversight function on the executives in policy implementation, as clearly highlighted in this paper, there is also a major gap. The electors have also failed the nation by repeatedly voting the same unperforming politicians. The development of this country can therefore not be left in the hands of the elected, but must be the responsibility of all stakeholders, including professional bodies such as ISEN, which should now take it up as a challenge and as a national service to always confront the legislatures in economic formulation. This paper is therefore a call for ISEN to take up its role as the economic watchdog of the country, to mount pressures on the executives and legislators not only during economic policy formulation, but also to take the next step in ensuring successful implementation of these policies for the benefit of all stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Again, please let's give Dr. Felix Valentine another round of applause. We really appreciate you. And before we go for the second paper, I want to quickly remind us that immediately after the second paper, we were running over. We only have 2 resource persons today. The third person is in this post. He has just called now. So we will not take the third paper, and that is budgeting and economic development policy implementation in Nigeria by Dr. Okoyemi Adesina. We will now be taken, but we have the paper with you. It's in this post. So we will now call the next person. Immediately after the second paper, we quickly go for a lunch. And after the lunch break, those for seminar will be allowed to go. We give them their seminar certificate, where we go to the induction proper for the PFD, the fellowship, and that of associate. And that is when the DG will now give us his own opening address. Without wasting much of our time, I want to quickly invite to come and present his own paper, Dr. Felix Oteje. Dr. Felix Oteje will be taking us through the topic economic development policies implementation and its coordination in Nigeria. Economic development policies implementation and its coordination in Nigeria, to be taken by Dr. Kenny Oteje. Please, let's give Dr. Kenny Oteje a round of applause. Where is Dr. Kenny Oteje? I think he wanted to use this. He wanted to use this. If you have any question or you want to respond to the paper being delivered by Dr. Valentine Felix, you have the chance to do that within 2 to 3 minutes before the arrival of Dr. Kenny Oteje. So if you have any question or contribution to the paper presented by Dr. Valentine Felix on the role of legislature in development policies implementation in Nigeria, you can do that right away. Any contribution or question? If you have any contribution, okay, the DJ want to say something.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to summarize the paper, maybe in a sentence. I think the purpose of this paper presentation is a call to the National Assembly. I'm not only to the National Assembly, but the government of Nigeria to establish National Policy Implementation Commission to monitor every policy, call it state or local, state or and the federal level. You see, the reason why we have this failure of implementation is because there is nothing like monitoring. And if we have a commission monitoring all the various policies being formulated in this country, we will discover that Nigeria will be better than the United States of America. Because if a policy is formulated, there is no proper follow-up or there is no implementation, such an establishment can be questioned or called to order. Just as we have EFCC of grant, ICPC of grant, monitoring the financial institutions, so also we should have National Policy Implementation Commission. And ISEM members, qualified ISEM members, should be appointed at the head of that commission. Thank you.
Yes, because they are qualified to do that. And you know, this is what we've been saying. There is no proper supervision on whatever government gives out. Look at the local government. Thank God they've been given autonomy. The money will be given to them directly, is that not? But the president will call them. We'll be sending money to you directly now. If you like, give that money to your governor. You will end up in Kirikiri. And that is the best thing. It has started. Let's see what is going to happen. If they will give the money to their governors or they will not. But, well, I don't want to preempt. You know, most of these local government chairmen are boys to these governors, and there's no way. Well, we believe God will help us to do things in the right way. If it is being done in the right way, there will not be, because that is the grassroots. If the grassroots is wounded, then there's nothing. I think somebody is raising up his hand there. Thank you very much, sir. You are free to come up, sir. You want to contribute? Yes. You are welcome, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your name, please, and welcome.
I can stand. Okay, my name is Sunday Oluemi Ayodele, and my contribution to this paper, the role of legislators in implementation of these policies in Nigeria, is that we're in a part of the world whereby people are voted into position because they are pleasant, they greet you very well. We don't check the capacity of the person. We check only those who are friendly with us. And to me, I think we should go above that. If somebody can deliver what I want, even if it's my enemy, I'll vote him to power. So long I can get what will benefit me from the economy. But if you don't present legislators who even have dreams to develop the country, you cannot get any form of result. So legislators that we have, many of them today, are sleeper legislators. Some don't even know what it means to be a legislator. Some goes to the position to be called honorable member or distinguished senators. So after their tenure, they seek your vote and you continue to return them, and you can't get anything. Lagos, as is used an example, for example, was used as Lagos. The Lagos example is that people are screened thoroughly before they get into the position. So development policies are continuous. But when someone is being voted to position because he is a friend to the family, or he always greets, he is friendly to the community, regardless of his capacity, you cannot get positive results. There are people who are very, very good in different aspects. In addition, I'm a Christian. The Bible in one aspect says the man, a parable there's a parable that Jesus gave concerning someone who is to invest, an investor. He gave to some 5 talents, to another 2, and to one talent. And in addition, it says according to their ability. If you give someone who has the ability to rule a local government, and you give him a position of the governor, the state, you are sure you can't get anything. From the Bible illustration, you can see that the person who was given 1 ended up not doing anything with the 1, and hence we find ourselves in this situation. So it's a message to us that we'll take back home and to our community. Don't vote person because you love him. To me, instead of me to lose what I want, I would rather talk to my worst enemy to get what I want from him. Thank you so much.
Any other person?
Once more, good morning, Your Excellencies. While you make up your mind to make your valuable contributions, I want to please ask for a favor. I need 2 lady participants and 2 gentlemen participants to form a committee for me, who will just put down whatever we are doing here, because we must make judicious use of it and send it to the appropriate quarters. Please, I want an indication. If you can do that for us, I will appreciate it. So I come and take up this seat. If you know you can write. 2, I know economists are good writers, so don't tell me you cannot write. If you can write, please let me see your hand. 2 ladies, 2 gentlemen. Don't tell me all these ones are not writers. DJ.
Or you want me to mention?
You sure you still there from?
I saw this, my former commissioner of police, retired. He's been writing. I think he has got almost a textbook.
Which are you
He has got almost a textbook of things.
Please, can I have the answer here?
Okay.
Okay, we have a.
This is Oniyide. I would recommend you.
Second lady.
Oniyide, please, I recommend you. Oniyide.
Please come and take a seat.
Okay. My uncle. Okay. So the what is that? Chairman.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
much,
sir.
Okay, finally,
Please come and sit down here.
please take this. 1 gentleman.
So give them a special seat.
Yes. You're welcome, sir.
DJ, 1 gentleman. Did you look at the applications very well? I need 2. I want to balance it, even though there is no contest.
I don't want to involve my place.
I should pick
1 gentleman.
1 gentleman.
Okay, there's none. You can go on. You can do 2 of them.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other response? If there is none, let's go to the next paper. Let me quickly invite Dr. Kenny Okeje to give us his own paper presentation on the economic development policies, implementation and its coordination in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Kenny Okeje.
Stay standing on the
existing protocol. It seems this paper has already been debated upon, and my recommendation has already been said by the DG. Now we are going into the interactive environment where our people will have something to write down. The first presenter, facilitator, said the essence of these policies is to bring us out of what? Poverty. Is that not true, sir? Because I captured that. Are we out of poverty yet? That is why that communique is necessary. What policies do we need? What is the essence of the policy? We said economic policy is used to do what? Drive the economy. And I don't want to bore us with a lot of grammars there. We said the ultimate goal of the government is to promote human welfare. And it works, and the government works as what? As an agent development. If government essence is to promote people's welfare, then what is policy? The essence of government designing the policy, one, to bring us out from the various problems that we are facing. Is that not true? Are we out of those problems? Are we? We need to know how to develop these policies and how to bring us out of the challenges we are facing. That is why I said policy is generally directed to achieve a particular objective. You will see when the era of COVID-19, which we are still experiencing, series of policies have emanated, which has not even favored some sectors and some constituencies. That is why we need policy implementers to see how these policies have been carried out and at what level. Now, the essence of economic development is used mainly in reference to what government does in order to meet the yearnings and aspirations of the people. It is not only government that designs the policy. Let's say, for instance, when there was a review of the Constitution, it goes from state to state, from constituency to constituency, for everybody to have their what? Their input. Do we actually have the right people to have their input there? Who were the people invited to have their input in the policies that we government is trying to implement or carry out or formulate policies on? This is the problem we are facing in the country. Now, I said here, the concept therefore is central to government. When government have listened to the yearnings of the people, the aspiration of the people, the needs of the people, the problems of the people, it is now their responsibility to now sit down with your representatives from the various constituencies to say, what are the needs of your people? Where are they lacking from? What do you expect governments to do? It is based on this. Policy will now be made
The policy that has been made is not called economic development policy. Policies are tools to design the economic development policy. Now let's look at here. Economic development policy making process refers to series of steps that should be made by the government to address a particular what? Problem. The first presenter said individual states have their own economic development plans. Am I right, sir? And these individual states, they have some likeness and things to do with the federal. While they are designing their policies, it must tally somehow with the federal level. Who are the people involved to design these policies? Your representatives are at the National Assembly. Are they actually carrying out the yearnings or the aspirations of the people? Are they inputting their own policy based on the input of the people they are representing? That is where there is a big gap. That is why there are crises in the economy. We said here, in a democratic environment, it is seen as a set of interrelated decisions by political sectors and a group of what? Actors. Who are this group of actors? You and I. Before a policy is designed, your input is required. My input is required. And that input, and you have somebody that represents you, that speaks your voice. That person that speaks your voice is carrying out your responsibility as a person. Let's take a case study. A local government chairman was stoned in Lagos as at last year. I will not mention the name of the chairman. While he was on seat, he never remembered that he has a house in a particular place. And the road that leads to that place was not even tied. When he was voted out, he now remembered he had a place. What do you call it? Boom boom. He now said, I want to develop this place. And when the people saw him, they started stoning him. They said, while you were there, you did not remember this environment, this community. You took your house back to Lekki to go and build a house there. But now you are coming back to the community. That kind of person has not carried out the problems, has not been able to solve the problem of the community where he built his own house. The same thing applies to governors. Remember, you will come back home. The problems of your people, are they actually inputted into the policies which you are governing? We said here, then policy can then be referred to as a proposal. It's not an economic policy. It's a proposal you tender that these are the things that my people want. Despite the fact that there is a global need of the people.
Then who are these people that forms the economic development policy? We are coming there. It is common to hear of foreign policy. That was a problem within the manufacturing sectors, when they could not be able to import the raw materials because of high cost of what? Foreign exchange. Immediately there was a policy, economic policy design, that all manufacturing sectors should have, we have multiple what? Foreign exchange. Some favor the manufacturing sector, and not all the manufacturing sectors. There were segments, it did not cut across all the manufacturing sectors. That means that such an economic policy did not favor every manufacturers in Nigeria. It's only designed for a particular set of what? Manufacturers. One of these companies consulted me. I said, look, when I saw the list of manufacturing companies that were favored, their own name were not there. They said, Oga, what can we do? I said, go back to CBN and solve your problem. He said, we have spent billions of naira, but this policy says it's meant for all. And that is the same problem we are having. That is why our DG said in one of the recommendations here that there must be a national policy on implementation commission to see how far these recommendations have been implemented and at what level. If when our government were coming on board, they said, look, we are going to be giving 5,000 naira to less privileged. Abi? Did they cut across? It was a policy. That policy transformed to economic policy because that money was drawn from the budget. Did that money went round the 36 states of the federation and the local government that supposed to control their own community? This is the essence and the importance of the commission. At what level? Where did the money go? Who distributed the money? Is it physically or electronically? There must be what? This is the importance of the commission. Now, let's look at the characteristics of economic development policy. It involves what? There must be a choice of action. What do we want to do? Have we actually carried out that objective or goal? What are the yearnings or the demands of the people before economic policy is designed? There must be a choice. The second step is that it is a proposed course of action or projected set of decisions outlined. Because when a economic policy is designed, it must also state the step-by-step processes. It's just like in private organizations, they call it SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. How did you carry out this? Who is accountable for this? Even though we have it Nigeria have the best policies in the world. Nigeria, I give them kudos. But actualization and implementation is our problem. And sustainability. They said physical policy and money. Where is good? If they want to mop up money, they set up these policies. What of the people that are having these problems? There was a policy on reducing unemployment in Nigeria. Up to today, we are just reading it in the paper that the reduction on unemployment is now 27%. Is that not paperwork? That is the essence of the commission. They have to go. It's not an office affair. They move from state to state. They move from local government to local government to see how this economic development policy are what be implemented. There you will see the nakedness of some government officials, unless you are not also what corrupted. Because some people are saying, oh God, when you get there you will do sin. It's because you have not seen money, that's why you are talking like this. Is that not true? Now the fourth stage is there must be a goal before an economic development plan is designed. There must be a goal. You know, if you want to set up a business, you have your what? You have what? A plan. You have what? Management. Let's come to management. You have what? Vision. You must have that goal, and the goal must be oriented. We said it must be directed and attainable. Let's look. Let's take for instance Lagos-Ibadan expressway. Series of policies, development policies during the time of Balakin, Obasanjo and the rest. There are policies designed. There are money committed for it. Who monitors the spending? Because they say when the fiscal policy is designed, is used to monitor your spending and the growth of the economy. If there is much money, they said, look, increase the what? The tax. It is good to design these policies. Are we actually feeling the impact of the economic policy designed by the government? Now, the fourth one is, fourth set, it has to do with a particular what? Problem. And the problem must be what? Existing within the people. And it is the responsibility of the local government chairman and cohorts to tell the governor, look, in their templates, these are the problems our people are facing. Because if you go to some localities, local governments, there are some streets meant for the local government, there are some meant for what? The state. And there are some meant for federal. How are these being carried out? Federal government has also designed their own economic development plan, policy. State has designed their own. Local government has also what? Designed their own. Recently, in my area, the street that has not been tied for 15 years, and this is the office of the local government chairman, and that word is his own word. Where the mama was saying, he went to go and tie the whole place. When election was coming, 5 days to the election of Saturday last week, he brought Caterpillar everything to. I said, look at this people. That even when National Assembly are passing this National Implementation Commission, it should go down to the state and to the local government. If we really want to see and the aspirations of the people. You know that on a yearly basis, organizations, private companies carries out what we call what? Appraisal. That is the essence of the implementation commission. They appraise what the government has done. And the people that must be constituted in the commission must not be politicians. They must be technocrats. But when you see money, don't because hello, there are actors involved in economic policy making. The first speaker has said we have governmental actors. These governmental actors are the legislature, the executive, and the judiciaries. And we also have the non-governmental actors. These non-governmental actors that should also be involved in designing, in contributing to economic development plans are the political parties. In America, they call them shadow political parties. Not the main political party that are in power. Political parties, interest groups, the citizens must also be involved when government is designing the economic development plan. Even before the economic development plan is designed, they must also be involved in designing the policy that drives what? The EDP. At what stage your local government chairman called you, oh Alhaji, I want you to be involved in this policy, because you are not loyal to his party, they will not involve you unless you are loyal to their party. These are the non-governmental actors that must be involved when you are designing an EDP. Even when you are designing a policy, if you want any institution to what? To grow. The economic development planning process in Nigeria are this. The National Economic Council is headed and presided by who? By who? You are looking at here. Are you want to Jiwewo? It is the responsibility of the vice president to go back to the president. This is what has been decided, that taking into cognizance the input of various parties, that we have come to the conclusion of this, that we can now design an EDP based on these problems. The other people involved are the Ministry of Finance, the National Planning, the National Manpower Board, and Federal Office of Statistics. What is the essence of the Federal Office of Statistics? What is the importance of the Federal Office of Statistics in designing EDP? Sir? Is it accountability?
I have a question, sir. Presenter. Maybe the general house will also help me.
Okay.
How can a son, a lawyer, be the head of the economic
how can a lawyer be head of budget? Maybe you tell us why they did that.
Politically, that same problem is affecting the academic world. How can a doctor head as a minister for what? Labor and productivity. Medical doctor. What does he have? What does he know concerning academic issues or tertiary institutions? What does he know concerning union activities? None. The same thing applies to what we are having here. That is why we are having this problem in this country. A lawyer cannot head this. There was a paper I wrote some time ago, which I was asked not to publish. I said the Minister of Finance must be an economist. I wrote some things happening, and I was invited. Mr. Man, are you to decide? That paper must not fly. Quickly, when I know what the government will have, what did I do? Under the locker. It's still inside my locker today. Maybe part of the recommendation we are going to make. That is why our economic development policy is not driving. Because hello, if you go to CBN, my GG will bear with me witness, and Dr. Felix, there is a department, that foreign exchange department is headed by an economist. Because a mathematician cannot come to foresee and give ideas. The same thing applies to our economic development policies. He's now throwing the ball to the house. What can a lawyer do? Maybe when you have an answer to that. What can a lawyer do? Who wants to answer? Okay. Hello, sir. Somebody is answering your question.
Well, I just thought the lawyers are learned colleagues, and you know, in every profession, we have lawyers who specializes in economic development. We have on mineral development, criminal justice, etc. As it were, they said they are the best. They know, they have idea of everything. So maybe from that angle, sir. Okay.
Standing on the existing protocol, they have all the legal, as my brother said, ideas, legal scopes, but the role that a lawyer can actually play in any, even in some kind of situation of developing a commission as well, is always when it comes to the aspect of developing the legal framework. Legal framework of, you cannot do anything without a legal framework. And for a legal framework to actually for us to perfect existing economic policies and ideas, we need input of a lawyer. We're not saying the lawyer must head, but we need input of a lawyer. Thank you.
It seems he has answered your question. A lawyer should not head. Okay.
Good afternoon. I want to really believe that the lawyer might not do much to it, but just like the lecturer or the presenter have spoken, the head, in terms of politics, the head may come from wherever, but the role that the technocrats play is very, very important. In the composition, if you go down the composition, you find out that we have different technocrats pulled from different sectors of the economy. And I think they did a very thorough work by looking at the membership, because if you are talking about economic policies, you have to draw membership from this institution or these bodies. So it does not really, in terms of governance, when you look at it, because we have to do with the politicians, it does not really matter who is the head, but the composition should be given careful consideration. When we have good composition, I believe there is a contribution of the members that will translate to whatever policy decision that we need to take. So in that directive, I think.
Okay. Before you clap,
no,
somebody need to understand my question. I'm trying to make you use your time very well. Yes, anybody can head, but it should be someone who can be able to understand 2 times 2. That when they pull of the team brings their report, you should be able to say, this your 2 times 5 is not correct. I don't know, because you are the one who is going to report to the president. You should be able to interpret and say, you see this econometrics you did here, this thing, I think you need to rearrange it, but not to sir, this is the report. You just say, okay, it's okay, I'll take it forward. You should be able to ask questions. When the head is not well knowledgeable in that field, you can't criticize the work of the team and you might not get at the best. But if you still want to convince me how a lawyer should be Minister of Works and
Has he answered your question? Or you still have something to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Okay, we are coming.
Based on what my mass said, yeah, the lawyer can be the head of works department or ministry, because of politics is everywhere, we know. Politicians, they consider your support that give them in campaigning and also able to award you a ministry or whatsoever. To me, if that will happen, what we are going to do, what we are going to consider is the synergy between the head and the civil servant there. If they have a very good understanding and synergy, the civil servant there, they have experience over the years and they may be professional in the field. So when there is a synergy between the head and the civil servant there, we will achieve it.
And where there is no synergy?
When there is no, there should be the synergy between the ministers.
Thank God my man is here. I want to throw one question to him. You are going, everybody will talk. There was a problem in the banking sector. Then, chartered accountants were made MDs. And this matter went back to the National Assembly, trashed out, and CIBN won. If you want to be MD, you must be banker. The same thing will triumph. Okay, no. I'm coming. You say I'm missing too. Okay, before you talk, something happens. Professionally, ICANN and lawyers, they went to court. Lawyer said they must be signing the accounting report, the audited report. We all heard of this in this country. And you know, accountants, you can't play with their intelligence when it comes to figures. They throw a question. They said, can you interpret this? Can you interpret it? If I don't interpret it for you, you won't know what to sign. Why can you sign what I have prepared? At the one. Let me ask another question.
Hello?
Please let me stand by already established protocol. I heard the
President from the High Table saying that how can a lawyer become a minister of works? Am I correct? I beg to differ with him. If anybody,
It did not started like that.
no, I said that is what I heard. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm being careful with my choice of words.
Okay.
If a lawyer can head or any other professional can head any organization, what are my reasons? When you appoint a political head, there must be his aides. You hear special advisor or special assistant on this, on that, on this. What are the work of the special advisor or special assistant? You should give him the professional advice as it relates to the subject matter. And when that is done, the chief executive, sorry, the chief executive is formally guided. And let me also say that there are some lawyers. There are some lawyers who are chartered accountants.
Yes.
There are lawyers who are engineers. Just about a few months ago, a professor of pharmacy was called to the Nigerian bar here in Abuja. So, yes, what I'm trying to say is that as far as the issue of political head is concerned, I am of the firm belief, and I can contest it anywhere, that anybody, provided, when I say anybody, let me define the context in which I'm using it. Anybody who is knowledgeable or who have gone to school can head any organization if he has the correct crops of professional he needs to discharge that duty. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Give him. Maybe you would have been. I'm coming. Maybe you have been reading papers recently. Something is happening in one of the universities, which I will not mention.
Go ahead.
Now, NUC said, before you can become a VC of a university
In Nigeria.
Even globally, you must have an academic qualification of PhD. Before now, a fellowship in postgraduate medical school before now were appointed politically as VCs of universities in Nigeria. But this university said now we are going in line with NUC. A fellowship of medical school cannot be a VC. They are not in the same cadre. PhD is academician. Fellowship is professional. How can a professional be an academician? Give you that mic. We are calling.
Thank you so much, Martha. I also stand on the existing protocol. And thank you, my president, for raising this vital question that is already making us to enjoy this conference. I know if we continue like this, especially people that have political instinct, they will never agree. One of the greatest problems we have as a nation is this mismatch. And this mismatch will always continue as long as we believe that politicians are in charge. Now, to start with, that economic team cannot be headed by someone that is not economically inclined. If Professor Jibanga wants to be economic, let him go and get BSc, MSc in economics. Coupled with his lawyer, wherever, he can head that. Now, we have seen a situation whereby maybe a school, for example, you see someone that is not in that field as the governing body chairman, and it becomes a problem. He doesn't even know what is happening in that school. So it's a problem. And we have seen instances where lawyers are minister for works. For God's sake, a year one student in engineering will outbid that minister any day, any time. If a minister of works that is a lawyer goes to the transport or a power ministry, now you understand that yes, political appointments are there. Now we are saying anybody can head anywhere. even when you are primary school or secondary school, as long as your team are professional, you are still the head. A lot of things will always fall on your table as a head to make decisions. Do you still need their input to make those decisions as the head? So it becomes a problem, and that's where we are, because we don't put round pegs in round holes. Go and check what is happening in America. I know the person that was appointed as the director of economic council in America is a pure economist. He has nothing to do with politics, and that's why those economists are moving ahead, because we use the right people at the realms of affairs. So that's my suggestion.
Thank you. Even to align with what you have just said, there was a proposal I sent to NUC 2016 to incorporate risk management into the curriculum of all universities. It was approved, and to start with all postgraduate schools. At the debate here in Abuja, we were looking for people to head that department. Argument started. An insurance professor said, I will head. He said, I will head. And the executive secretary said, consultant, can he head? I said, no. I said, risk management gave birth to insurance. Yes. I said, they now said, can you head? I said, no. I said, I only have a professional certificate in risk management, not an academic certificate in risk management. He now asked me, what do you want us to do? I said, pen this thing till 2023. Then you will have people that have PhD in what? Risk management. I was referring to myself.
I know you are preparing for it. Okay, Dr. Okeke, please let me answer this person. Standing on the existing protocol, I think when Dr. Ken started this presentation, and he was talking about the people, talking about the economic development policy, referring to the people at the local government, that who are the people that contribute to making this economic policy. I was waiting for that point until the president asked this question. That is very interesting. The last two speakers have said something. I think the former said things that has to do with the special advisor, that anyone that is that must have gone to school can head any organization, but it depends on the special advisor. So there is a gap now. The gap is that all these present special advisors, what are their contents in time of qualification? If a lawyer is to head an economic related committee, then it will be saddled with some special advisor. It means that there is gap of professionalism in time of academic and in time of association. So whereby you say a fellow is just a professional, and someone that has attained a PhD is an academic, it means that for you to attain a PhD, you must have addressed some certain gaps. Now gaps have been identified. We've seen some gaps. The last speaker said whoever wants to head things must have the economic training. Yes, but will it be the only one? It means that you must still need the assistance of the legal advisor. So what is the content of this advisor that has been selected? I think the people matters a lot, and that is the beginning of what Dr. Ken is saying, and I still await to hear the conclusion of this. This is just my contribution. Thank you very much, sir.
Hello, hello, sir. Somebody is there.
Okay.
Look at here.
I can say it.
The work of the lawyers in these committees possesses the power of judiciary to review those policies and make and examine and determine their constitutionality, whether they are in line with the constitution or not. But to me, not for them to head the committee.
Okay, sir.
Good afternoon. Standing on the same protocol. Much has been said, but I want to align myself with the speakers that tend to take their position that no, somebody who is supposed to head must have a knowledge in the area that is going to head. There is something about headship, and I think one thing that's very key here is policy formulation. Let me just give you an instance. Over the years, Ministry of Justice, the Minister of Justice, who is he? There has never been a time they take any other person to service. So, and if you look at it that way, we are talking about service delivery. I will tell you about headship. Headship is something that you that is at the bottom, even if you have the idea, you are going to be very hesitant and try to look at the direction of the headship. The so-called advisors you are talking about, they are being appointed and they are also looking up to the headship. So the head must be able to have the knowledge in the area we are talking about in order to have a very good delivery. Thank you very much.
Okay, did you want to come in at this juncture?
DG should have been the last person to talk.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Somebody is there, sir.
Gentlemen.
My DG.
Yes,
somebody wants to talk.
I will give time. I will give. You see, what we are trying to do here, we are not condemning the lawyers. No. We are only trying to see how we can promote you sitting down in front of us. It is very, very wrong to give what belongs to the economist to a lawyer. It is very, very wrong. You're supposed to get the recognition, not the lawyer. Let me explain to you. I have a friend. I'm not just a friend. He's our lawyer, the institute lawyer. I used to tell him, I said, son, my barrister, you almost make me a lawyer. Because, one, I studied before you. I have my higher diploma in accounting, BSc, economics. I went further again because it was higher diploma. I have my BSc economics. I'm in accounting. During Obasanjo regime, Obasanjo make it compulsory that everybody in educational line, and you don't have educational qualification, you must go back to the classroom to have either your B.Ed or PGD. I think we are aware.
Yeah.
I was forced to go down again to get my PGD in education. I got my PGD in education. And I said, PGD is child play certificate.
I also got it.
Go, he got it. I went further, I got my master's MED in education, National Open University. I think we were the first, we were somewhere in their place here, 2006 or 16. We did our convocation here. Even the man that was supervising me at TBU, Dr. Miller, curriculum, that is education. Those of you from TBU, you know Dr. Miller very well. I told my colleagues, I said, never in your life, I said, it is 10 of us, make sure to talk that I'm a professor. I said, because the day you do that, this element that you see me reading, it will take me 30 years to finish it because it will sit me down. I say it will sit me down, it will never allow me to go. But it is something that challenged me. Among the 10, he said, Balogu Assessor, he said, give me a PhD thesis. I said, why PhD thesis? I said, this is MED, honorary master. All my colleagues, they produce 135 pages of research, some 86 pages of research. Why are you telling me to give you a PhD thesis? Then he asked me, he said, are you ready to graduate or not? I said, sir, I am ready to graduate. I was forced check up with the Yachuku Center to produce a PhD thesis for my MED. And my thesis is the best in the whole national Open University, nationwide, and I scored an A. What am I trying to say? These our people occupying these offices, just as somebody suggested there. What stopped them to go down to read that course at BSc level or PhD level? See my prof here. This man here, Dr. Felix. Look at his paper and see the qualification. He's a lawyer. He has 2 PhD, academic 2 PhD in different fields. Please, I know that those people supporting these lawyers, they are lawyers. Those people supporting this lawyer taking the office of economists, they are lawyers. We are begging. On behalf of ISEC, please, nothing is wrong. Go for a PhD program to remedize your papers. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I think...
Sorry, Ma'am will be the last person because we are watching time. This is, we don't want to waste. Many people are still traveling back to Lagos today, and you know... Okay, so it should be the last but one. The last but one. Okay.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think we're using the wrong context for this analysis because, and I totally agree with both of them. Because in this, we're talking about national economic team, all right? The national economic team has a political structure and a technical structure. Like the vice president is just the chair, all right? But if you look at the composition of the team, you have the Minister of Finance, Minister of Budget, Minister of State Budget, Minister of Trade and Investment and all that. You also have the DGs as part of the national economic team, and these DGs are not these are people with proven expertise in those fields, and the chair is there to provide leadership. Leadership is a skill. Saying the vice president cannot chair the national economic team is like saying the president is not qualified to be a president because he didn't study political science. All right, so in this context, there is always a political structure and what the technical structure. We should pay more emphasis on the technical structure. Who are the persons in that technical structure providing counsels, providing advisories to the chair to do what? Make the final decision. Because what the chair does is more like coordinating. All right, coordinate and ensure that there is a common ground and they all agree. All right, I am from a field, but they are the chair, but there is a co-chair who is what? Somebody with the technical expertise coordinating activities while they provide the government with the advisories. Okay, this is what the team has agreed on, has decided on, and the government, and providing the right advice for the chair to do what? Make the right decision and inform his governor or our governor on what the constitutional is the duty of the vice president to be the distance. So I think we should focus on the composition and not the technical.
I don't want you to go with that notion, please. What we're talking about is the technical aspect of any political office. But when it comes to the technical aspects, I am an accountant by profession. I read BSc, I have PhD. I'm a professor in forensic accounting. Now ask me, how did I come to economics? I went back to go and do a BSc again in economics, do PhD again in economics, got another professorship in economics, and that's why I became your president. I have 3 masters, I have 2 MBA, PhD I have 4 postgraduate, because there are certain things I needed to put. So what I'm trying to say is that if you want to head any technical team, go to the classroom. Whether you were
with the DG very recently, where I engage him on a lot of policies that we need to do, even in public sector. He is there. he can attest to that. For us, it's not because there are professions that you cannot, you can't find an accountant to become the CMD of an hospital, for instance. So it is about square peg in square hole. Thank you very much.
It seems he made one germane point that the head of the economic team also went to London School of Economics. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Please, this should be the last. We are trying to round off everything by 3.
Check during Obasanjo's regime, Atiku was the chairman. If you check during Yaradua, Goodluck was the chairman. Now, so that position to me is be reserved for the vice president. That's what I think.
Okay, Dr. Oteje,
let me quickly round off this because of time. And we are going to put forward our communique at the end of the day to advise government. If you look at this area, to determine the actual effect of policy implementation, the following steps are suggested. 1. The type and complexity of the problem must be addressed in economic policy. 2. The magnitude of the expected change and the group targeted to make that policies must be addressed. Look into it so that they will give a sound economic development policy for the nation. 3. The human and financial resources devoted to the implementation must also be looked into. 4. The administrative structure, and that is where the president is concerned. It must not be vice president, as the case may be. Must also be looked into, and the regulation. That is why the commission is coming up. The regulation put in place to support implementation of the policy is necessary. That is the commission. Now let's quickly go to the recommendation. You will read this, how parliamentary role in economic development towards the budget process. You will read that in the paper. Let's quickly go to the recommendation. The last page. 1. We have all said the recommendation. Government should ensure that all the yearnings or demands of the citizenry be part of the economic policy formulation. That is, individual from every sectors, local governments. Economic policy should focus on the needs of the people and the nation in general. 2. Means to mitigate against corruption should be policy focused and transparent. 3. Fiscal and monetary policy should also be transparently discussed before it's passed into law for what? Implementation. 3. Officials or representatives responsible for economic development policies fallout should be held what? Accountable. If you are appointed as part of the commission team and there is a fallout, you will also be held what? Accountable. Economic development plans and implementation be reviewed constantly to ascertain whether it meets what? Its demands. Lastly, a bill for the establishment of National Policy Implementation Commission be supported and passed into law by the National Assembly to monitor and ensure implementation of the various economic development policy in the country. Thank you and God bless.
Let's appreciate Dr. Kenny Oteje by giving another round of applause. It's a kind of interactive paper today, and I would believe many of us have been able to contribute towards it. Let us go home and digest, and the communique will be sent down to the presidency through this channel, the Institute of Chartered Economics of Nigeria. We shall now round it off here on seminar, and your seminar certificate will be handed over to you. We want to quickly go for our lunch break. Immediately after the lunch break, we go to induction proper. Thank you very much. So lunch is, let's go for 20 minutes. Please, 20 minutes. Please serve the high table, please. 20 minutes for the lunch break. Please, 20 minutes. Please, you can come here so you can pick what you want, then go back and sit down. Please come over here, please. Please, the high table, please serve the high table.
Your video, where is it facing now? Video? No. All you do is I don't know whether we can get
that's my first time. The man said, after my brother. Come and snap picture. We are going to work together.
This is what you did. This is how you put it. No. It's supposed to shake most of this paper. No, the thing is wrong. What is doing? Maybe it's when I was coming out. Go on. Yeah.
Ojúmọ́ ti mọ́ mo rí rẹ̀ o.
AbegMusic.com.
Ojúmọ́ ti mọ́ mi ilé yìí o. Ojúmọ́ ti mọ́ mo rí rẹ̀ o. Ojúmọ́ ti mọ́ mi ilé yìí o. Ojúmọ́ ti mọ́ mo rí rẹ̀ o. DJ More Music.
Are you serious? Ṣé bá ti kọ́ bá ṣe ọkọ̀ tó bá pé bàbá ń bẹ lókè? Ṣé bá ti kọ́ bá ṣe ọkọ̀ tó bá pé lóòótọ́ ń bẹ lókè? You don't have to wait till you feel the pain. You can start right now. It's not too late. It's not too late to be grateful.
BagMusic.com.
Exclusive. Believe this world a better place. Ṣé bá ti kọ́ bá ṣe ọkọ̀ tó bá pé bàbá ń bẹ lókè? Ṣé bá ti kọ́ bá ṣe ọkọ̀ tó bá pé lóòótọ́ ń bẹ lókè? You don't have to wait through the pain. You can start right now. It's not too late. It's not too late to be grateful. Mama, gotta be grateful. Everybody got to say I love you. My mama said, baby, I want you. If anybody got to say I love you. Now you ask me to trust you. Tell me how am I supposed to? I know love don't last. You speak out of love, my mom used to warn me about. Oh, how will I know that love will last? No, I come from far away to see these go down the drain. I've got so much to keep, but don't know what I'll get. Oh, emotional, you're telling me my whole wide world is killing me. I try so hard to spread myself, but who would it be? The world don't put away. My mama said, "Let me careful. If anybody comes to say I love you, grief. But now it's time to go the 180. You don't have to climb the highest mountain, for all you're looking for is within you. Open the eyes of your mind, your ears and mouth, as I sing my song. Open the eyes of your mind, your ears and mouth, as you hear my words. Oh, ba-da-ba-ba-da-dee, ba-da-ba-ba-da-dee. I'll be waiting, I'll be, ba-da-ba-ba-da-dee, ba-da-ba-ba-da-dee. I'll be waiting, I'll be. We still need the waste away, but nevertheless it's never late. See the times have changed, I thought you knew that this world will never ever wait for you. The world has come past times of fighting, so drop your guns and your swords and let us leave all that's gone. We all need love and understanding, so drop your guns and your swords and let us leave all that's wrong. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-dee, ba-da-ba-ba-da-dee. I'll be waiting, I'll be. Down to see all the people making faces for you, carrying me away, far from the circles that never breaks. Hey, hey, hey. Going on, where this road goes I already know. Everybody cares for one another, and they take you as their sister. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Let the children run around, there's laughing in the crowd. I hope it still remains the same. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. And there's something in the song that makes you feel at home, and that's what's calling out my name. Hey yo, hey yo. Our love is never ready for taking like a fly. Houses get the swirl of the web. Another sunny day, dreaming of me on stage. 5 years of age and I'm never free. Hey, going home. When this road goes, I already know. Where everybody cares for one another, and they take you as their brother. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. When the children run around, there's laughing in the crowd. I hope it still remains the same. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. When there's something in the song that makes you feel at home, and that's what's calling out my name. Hey yo, hey yo. Thought I didn't need it anyway. Maybe some things are meant to be. Over mountains and the seas, where I thought no man could reach. How do you find me?
Bagmusic.com.
How did love find me? I was trying to live without any water. I was trying to breathe without any air. Was losing the fight, and now I realize that I wasn't even alive. So I locked my heart away, thought I didn't need it anyway. Now I know differently. Over mountains of seas, where I thought no man could reach, now you have found me. My love, you have found me. You found me. You found me. I'm so glad you found me. You found me.
BagMusic.com.
Is this the end of the road? Where love would take us, no one knows.
DJ More Music.
1,000 miles across the sea. Is it too far to keep you away from me? All day long, come back home. It feels like hell.
BagMusic.com.
Won't let anyone but you. For me, love you should get. If you're not watching me, so wrong. Won't let anyone but you. For a while, you should get. If you're not watching me, so wrong. Won't let anyone but you. For me, love you should get. If you're not watching me, so wrong. Books and go on, you never know to teach you how to be yourself. Instead you are just someone else. No amount of talking or just friendly intervention can teach you when to up and go, can tell you when it's overload. When you just can see the future, when you just can see the light, you always got to go to the fight. Don't be crazy, don't crazy. You got to know what it's over, it's over. Total understanding to go out, but now I'm ready. I don't need no yesterdays, and I don't need your humble words. Shed another skin, and I feel so better waiting. I think I'm finally breaking through, 'cause everything is transparent. I can finally see the future, I can finally see the light. You always have to put up a fight. Don't be crazy, you have to know what it's over, it's over. Hallelujah, it's a new year. You have to know what it's over, it's over. Hallelujah, it's a new year. Tell me all your trouble, what's on your mind, child? I'll help you ease your worries. Share with me your secret problems, maybe I can help you solve them, child. What's on your mind now? You see you're not so differential. I'm dead out.
Everybody from this
To do, it's got never rises no excuses, no defense. Say like you really mean it. Everything you say, baby. Oh yeah. After the dawn comes the light, and you know nobody can tell you no more. Exclusive from QuickMoves.com. You can do what you like. Don't let nobody tell you you're go out into just what you like. Hey,
BagMusic.com.
I wake up. This DJ's so funky, man. As you leave, I
DJ More Music.
as you leave, when we kiss, I one day shall stay for your far away. We both good, but we were sure we miss it. We both good, but you're welcome. We miss it. You used to be my everything. Tried me like I was clean. What's the past of me? Make baby. Say girl, never be afraid. Ever, ever loving me. First I got you. Oh, I was a fool. You became my better man. Giving up, can't see. You can love it. Ever when you saw the lead, pick the finger and the key. That's crazy. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. You are sure, baby, say that. But what I can don't be, I'm one shitty, I'm one shitty. Oh, but I can't every door and every window. So get on, get on station. Say to me, go, say to me, go. Say to me, go, get on, say to me, go. I want it shitty, I want it shitty. congratulated. They say, what have we done to deserve this constant changing? Father, Father, hear us, cause we trust the elders. They say, look to the Lord for salvation and He shall redeem you. Lord, I'm getting frustrated. Yes, I'm losing my patience. I've been waiting for so long. How long will this go for? Got my back against the wall. I've been waiting for so long. Cause this is who we are. It's our reality. It's our reality now. Cause this is.
Sorry, please, do you have Mrs. Ididi here? Mrs. Ididi. Sharon. Mrs. Ididi.
This DJ's so funky, man. Exclusive from BigVibes.com. They say, what have we done to deserve this troublemaking? Father, Father, hear us, cause we trust the elders. They say, look to the Lord for salvation and He shall redeem you. I'm getting frustrated. Yes, I'm losing my patience. I've been waiting for so long. How long will this go for? Got my back against the wall. Just can't take it anymore. Cause this is who we are. It's our reality. It's our reality now. This is who we are. It's our reality. It's our reality now. This is where I am. I'm always in the business. Èmi rẹ̀ kọ́lẹ̀ gbẹ́, mo kàn ṣáájú mi bí mọ̀ ni. Ọ̀pọ̀ ọmọ lójú, ó lẹ́nu pọ̀ nípa business mi. Ọ̀rọ̀ èmi rẹ̀ kọ́lẹ̀ ní. Ẹ̀gbọ́n rẹ̀ ń fẹ́ mi ní. Are you serious? Ẹ̀gbọ́n rẹ̀ tó ń fẹ́ mi lọ́wọ́ ni o. Mo díẹ̀ fún o. Ẹ̀gbọ́n rẹ̀ ha. Ẹ bá mi sọ fún bèbí yẹn tó wọlé yẹn. Ẹ bá kìlọ̀ fún. Ẹ kìlọ̀ fún yá. Ẹ bá mi sọ fún sísí yẹn tó ká tó dé. Ẹ bá kìlọ̀ fún.
BigMusic.com.
Ọmọ ọdún mi ló ń bá mi wí. Ilé ẹ̀nà mo lè lọ yá. Mo kọ́kọ́ jẹ́ sí mi. Ìrẹ́ ò lápẹ́lẹ́. Ó dẹ̀ fẹ́ kéèyàn fẹ́ sílé. Ẹ̀gbọ́n rẹ̀ tó ń fẹ́ mi lọ́wọ́ ni o. Mo ti yọ̀ fún o. Ẹ̀gbọ́n rẹ̀ ha. Ẹ bá mi sọ fún bébí yẹn tó wọlé yẹn. Ẹ bá kìlọ̀ fún. Ẹ kìlọ̀ fún yá. Ẹ bá mi sọ fún sísí yẹn tó kájú dé. Ẹ bá kìlọ̀ fún. Ẹ kìlọ̀ fún yá. For the people who are gone, yet by, for the ones not yet by. Was you ever had? I don't wanna brag about me. Was you ever had? I hit you with the best flow. Freestyle in the breaststroke till you're blowing cigarette smoke. And now the bed's broke. So what we gonna do now? you cannot do. Jehovah Overdo. I have tasted of your love. I have seen your mighty works. Mountain mover, my lover, with your name in mind. There is nothing you cannot do. Protocol breaker.
Sorry, if you have not received your seminar certificate, you can meet this our secretary going. Collect your seminar certificate with her. We want to quickly move to the next program, and that is induction proper. For your seminar certificate, you can get in touch with her to collect it.
You found me worthy. I heard you call my name, and then you showed me love. You filled my heart with joy. Oh, you take my heart, I give it to you. It belongs to you. You have taken over me. So run, come everybody. That Jesus for me. He has done that which no man can do. So run, come everybody. That Jesus for me. He has opened up the door. There is nothing you cannot do. Protocol breaker. There is nothing you cannot do. Jehovah Overdo. I have tasted of your love. I have seen your mighty works. Mountain mover, my lover, your name in mind. There is nothing you cannot do. Protocol breaker. There is nothing you cannot do. Jehovah Overdo. I have tasted of your love. I have seen your mighty works. Mountain mover, my lover, your name in mind. You said that I'm the one you have to look for, and then you change my name, Lord. You wipe away my tears, Lord. And you overwhelm me. This love is too much. What can I say? I love beyond that. So run, come everybody. That Jesus for me. He has done that which no man can do. So run, come everybody. That Jesus for me. He has opened up the door. There is nothing you cannot do. Protocol breaker. There is nothing you cannot do. Jehovah Overdo. I have tasted of your love. I have seen your mighty works. Mountain mover, my lover, you're my name in mind. Hey, there is nothing you cannot do. Protocol breaker. Hey, there is nothing you cannot do. Jehovah Overdo. I have tasted of your love. I have seen your mighty works. Mountain mover, my lover, you're my name in mind.
Please, the inductees, let's get set. The PFD and fellows will please come forward. Right associate will be at the next. Please, let's quickly do that. The PFD should be here. PFD, fellow here, associate over there. Yes, that's what I'm saying. PFD, this road, fellow, this road, and associate the other road. Please, let's quickly do that.
Thank you.
Please PFD, this side. The middle roll goes for the fellow and the last one for associate. Please, let's arrange ourselves. We can get chance, sit down. No, just to sit. Please. Fellow here. PFD and associate. Mr. Adeniyi Idris Adewale is around. Mr. Adeniyi Idris Adewale. Yes. Fellow, this is Jerome. Fellow. Are we all set? If you are not an inductee, please you can move back. The PFD, fellow and associate. If you are not among these three categories, you can please move back.
One day you go go to one day you go be landlord. Good news go locate you. What I see in love will take. You believe you say I'm not Lord. Amen. Everything you put your hand go up. You never open doors. You said to be a boss. Amen. Everything you put your hand go up. You never open doors. You said to be a boss. Amen. Don't follow you, strangers don't favor you, great men don't honor you. Amen. One day you go sign me check for you said go drive a Benzo. This life will still make sense. Amen. Your children go make you proud. Bad people no go pull you down. One day you go run this town. Amen. Amen. You said go spray me, baby go call you away. You said go host the party. That go to go be your friend. To the last go be your friend. To the God go be your guys. Lumelu go be my God. Samat go be my God. Rabbi, you go be my God. Amen. Amen. Your life no end in shame. Your business will praise gain. You believe in someone. Amen. Amen.
Like I come now.
ìyanu aṣẹlẹ̀. Ewé ńlá yìí kò ní rú wẹ́wẹ́. Òkè òkè lẹ́wọ̀n máa lọ.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, we want to quickly start the introduction because we are leaving by 3 or even before 3 o'clock. So, the first agenda program here is presentation of the new PhD, the fellow and associate chartered economics of Nigeria to the president by the national secretary.
Will all the inductees please stand? All the inductees, please be on your feet. Mr. President, I present to you this worthy person standing and those who are unavoidable absent and for whom I stand proxy to be inducted as PhD, Fellow and Associate of the Institute of Chartered Economists of Nigeria.
Please take your seat. I know you have this book. You have this book. If you check your bag, you can see this book I'm holding. I'm on page 21. Okay, your bags are coming. The bags are coming. Okay, while your bags come, you can just listen. Professional guest speakers. The Vice President of ICE, Chairman Board of Fellows, DG Registrar and Council Members of ICE, awardees, distinguished guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you in this occasion on the conferment of PFD of AACE Prestigious Fellowship Award 2021, Economics Achiever Merit Award, Prestigious Award and Award of Associate of the Institute of Chartered Economists of Nigeria on distinguished Nigerians. An occasion of this type provides a forum for felicitation, discourse, and mutual economic relationship. The occasion is to formally welcome new members, discuss the state of our economy, and acquaint you with what is expected of you as chartered economics practitioners. The occasion is also to expose you to a large business community of high-profile professionals that one could develop viable business relationship with, to turn around their well-being and that of the nation at large. The Institute of Chartered Economists of Nigeria is passionate about its mandate of harnessing the economic potentials of Nigeria for rapid socio-economic development through policy advisory, pragmatic planning, and participation in policy implementation. The passion stems from the economic mandate to the nation by the Constitution of Nigeria that the state shall harness the resources of the nation and promote national prosperity and efficient, dynamic, and self-reliant economy, as well as control the economy in such a manner as to secure maximum welfare, freedom, and happiness of every citizen on the basis of social justice, equity of status and opportunity. Section 16 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. 1999 Constitution, Section 16, 1A and B. This mandate poses a challenge to all of us in this institute that we need to make sacrifices for its realization. Thus, the institute organizes seminars, workshops, conferences, local and international, with the resources of members to developing their human capital potentials for national and self-development. You can attest to this fact of the training and knowledge that you gain from the mandatory continuing professional educational training. The importance of knowledge in economics to a nation cannot be overemphasized, especially in today's knowledge-driven economy where information and communication technology rule the world. Economics is the bedrock of national development, which the people and governments use as a tool for promoting economic activities in pursuance of the national economic objectives. As chartered economists, we must be guided by a deep knowledge of the economy to be able to, one, contribute to effective policy making, policy review, two, advise businessmen and women and governments wisely and effectively, three, promote professionalism in economics, four, imbibe discipline, honesty, and hard work, recognizing the dignity of labor. Your induction today is partly to keep you abreast with how to handle the above expectations. We emphasize here that the Institute places high premium on members' integrity in anywhere they are operating, to be disciplined, hardworking, honest, and zero corruption. The Institute has a disciplinary committee to try every members if they commit any of the above charges. It is my wish and prayers to you that you shall never be found wanting in your place of work or with the Institute. I congratulate you for being found worthy to be inducted among many that wishes to be inducted. Your induction today will open a new and brighter chapter in your life. Thank you for listening. God bless you.
Our dear President, for that brilliant response. Now we move to item number 7, and that is citation of a professional code of conduct by the PFD, the fellow and associate awardee. You please give us a little time. We need to have this program because the professional code of conduct you will recite after me is written here. So you need to hold it. professional code of conduct. So we want to remove. What we're trying to do before was that the program is only meant for the awardees. So if we distribute in the morning, those that came for seminar may not take it, and you may not have. So we kept it in the bag. So we want to start removing it and be giving it to you. That's from the fellow here, the PFD here. So the program is meant for the kids. If you are an invited guest, please don't collect that program. Your name or your profile is not there. Please.
Thank you.
Have you ever watching the program? No. Who have not gone, please signify by raising up your hand, please. Please, madam. Please, madam, please, I mean, give them there, give them there. Raise up your hand so that she will know you will not collect it, please. Are we all set? If you have not got to please signify by raising up your hand. Meant for our dear only. Are we all set? If you have not got to please signify by raising up your hand. Meant for our dear only. Please don't look into tea. If you are not collected, raise up your hand. Let's see. Are we okay? Please, all the awardee, PFD, fellow, and associate remain standing, please. Open that your program to page number 20. We are trying to quickly round it up because of security reasons. You should understand the country now. So that's why we are trying to quickly round. Then the DG speech will not be read, is in that program. So when you get to me, you can read that one too. Please, fellow and associate, stand and remain standing. Open to page 20. Professional Code of Conduct. Have you all seen it? Now say after me. Under the authority granted as a member, I shall not to accept professional obligations which I know I have no sufficient competence and authority to perform. B. Accept due responsibility for all work done by me or under my direct supervision, and shall take reasonable steps to ensure that persons working under my authority and supervision are competent and dutiful to carry out the tasks assigned to them. C. When called upon to give an opinion in my professional capacity and based on the fact disclosed to me, give an opinion that is objective and reliable to the best of my ability. D. In my professional advice, if my professional advice is not accepted, take all reasonable steps to ensure that the person or body overruling or neglecting my advice is aware of the possible consequences which may arise therefrom. E. Take all reasonable care in my professional capacity to minimize the risk of any mishap or damage to the practice of economics and shall respect all laws and statutory regulations. F. Not maliciously or recklessly injure or attempt to injure directly or indirectly the professional reputation of another. G. Not improperly solicit work as an independent advisor or consultant, either directly or by an agent. Neither shall I improperly pay any person by commission or otherwise for the introduction of such work, and shall, when I work in a country other than Nigeria, still order my conduct according to the bill. But where there are different standard professional conduct and practice in that country, which are recognized and acceptable by the council, and shall adhere to both standards. And the last one, H. I shall adhere to the various infusions made into ISEM Professional Code of Conduct by the ICPC.
Will the National Secretary of the Institute please present the inductees?
Mr. President, sir, I present to you this worthy person standing and those who are unavoidable absent, and for whom I stand proxy to be inducted as PFD, Fellow and Associate of the Institute of Chartered Economics of Nigeria.
Take your oath of allegiance and say after me. I, mention your names, do solemnly affirm I shall bear true allegiance to the Institute of Chartered Economics of Nigeria. I shall obey all the rules and regulations of the Institute of Chartered Economics of Nigeria. I shall comply with the Code of Ethics and Standards of the Institute put in place from time to time. I shall promote the image and growth of the Institute with the best of my ability. I shall perform my duties and obligations to the Institute and the nation's honesty, faithfully, consciously, in accordance with the Institute's Constitution and laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. By the power conferred on me as the President of the Institute of Chartered Economists of Nigeria, I this day confer on you the PFD Fellowship/Associateship Award of the Institute of Chartered Economists of Nigeria. Today, the 31st July 2021, under the authority of the Board of Trustees of IC. Congratulations.
Please clear that page, sign and return here. Is there? Single page is there. Check it very well. Sign, fill it first, sign, and then you return here. I want to just quickly pick about two from PFD and two from fellow to read their citation because of time. Just I want to quickly rush. Yes, put it here. Okay, we are leaving by 3. Why that one is still on? Please. One. Okay, I'm picking Obu. Is he around? Mr. Obu? Brigadier General, please don't take me to please. I'm calling Brigadier General. That one would be for the PFD and AIG Oladipupo will come out for the first. Those are the 2 people who want to read. Please. Who's representing Brigadier General?
He's around.
Oh! My man. I know, you can't do anything to me. No, my man now. Yeah. Please, let me quickly go to his profile. Brigadier General Serenius Chukwuemeka Ogo was born on 7th May 1970 at Obielo Eke in Odelma local government area of Enugu State. He attended Union Primary School, Ohom, Oba, and Central School, Ibenda Obolo Eke during his primary education. He had a secondary education in Obolo High School, Obolo Eke, and Nsukka High School, Nsukka. He gained admission into the University of Nigeria, Nsukka in 1986 and graduated in 1991 with a second-class honor upper division in agricultural economics. During his national service in Plateau State, he served in Air Force Military School, JOS, from August 1991 to August 1992, and thereafter proceeded to Nigerian Defense Academy for his cadet training January to September 1993 as a member of NGDRC. He marked the best overall passing out officer cadet in his course and was commissioned on 25th September 1993. In the course of his career, Brigadier General C.C. Ogu attended several courses, seminar, workshop, including YOC Education 1994, YOC Infantry 1996, Junior Staff Course 2002, Basic NEC Officer Development Course 2004, Basic System Approach to Training 2005, Officer and NCO Education Course by USA National Grand Webbing 2005. Others are military observers Courses and Welfare Center, United Kingdom, 2007. Advanced System Approach to Training, 2008. Functional French course, 2009. And NAEC Executive Management course, 2014, among others. Obu has served in the following capacity: instructor, NMA Zaria, he served in Zaria, he served in Edwin, DAPA 2005-2007, DR Congo 2007-2008, G3, G7. He knows all this, as I'm calling this, if you are not you can't do it, just be following me. Don't disturb yourself. All this one, now we know how. So, okay, and the director, DCSS Ikeja, 2020-2021. Director of History, Research and Archives, National Defense College, Nigeria. Currently is the Chief of Staff at Headquarters Nigerian Army Education Corps, Yaba, Lagos. Brigadier General Ogo has the following qualification certificates: Bachelor of Greek in Agricultural Economics at University of Nigeria, Nsukka, PGD Education, NTI UD, Sokoto, PGD Management with distinction at NDA Kaduna, MS Information Management at Leeds Beckett University, UK. He has the following honors and award: Forces Service Star, FSS, Meritorious Service Star, MSS, Distinguished Service Star, DSS, UN Medal for Mission, the organization, the Nation Unite, Republican Democratical de Congo, that is French for you, passed Junior Staff Course, member Teacher Registration Council of Nigeria, member Nigerian Army Research Center, member Nigerian Institute of Management, fellow Institute of Public Management, fellow Association of Business Specialists and Entrepreneurs, and fellow Institute of Chartered Economics of Nigeria. Ogu has also won the COAS Award as the best graduating colonel in NAEC Executive Management course in 2014. He has also studied and earned the Certificate Security Supervisor (CSA) certificate from International Security Organization (ISO) and SEC Switzerland in 2020. Brigadier Sisi Ogu is happily married and blessed with children. He is always employed jogging, martial arts like Bruce Lee, Bush, outlaw, adventure, and military parade. I wouldn't know if you can just do that briefly for us. Please give Brigadier Ogu a round of applause. You can proceed. Let's give him a round of applause. My brigadier. I call on Olalekan Abufatai Oladipupo, retired AIG. That's it. Please stand where I insert your profile. Hello, sir. I want you to stand here. Abdulfatai Adigun Olalekan Oladipupo was born 6 decades ago. He's a retired Assistant Inspector General of Police who has served the Nigerian Police Force for 35 years. He is presently the Mogaji of Sanyidina Ile-Aperi Isale-Afa Ibadan, a position that qualifies him for kingship in Ibadan. As he's standing, he's representing the Olubadan of Ibadan. Let's say Kábíyèsí o. He was a BSc Honors Building Technology, MSc Construction Management, and MBA Human Resources. He was enlisted as specialist in the Works Department of Nigerian Police Force in 1984. Retired as the head of department in 2019. In the course of the service, he participated in lots of landmark projects, which includes acquisition of land, planning and supervision of Police Academy, Polak, Kano, Police Mobile Force PMF training schools in Ilaro, Osun State, and Police Training School, PTS, Oyi, Akoko, Ondo State. Planning and construction supervision of Police State Headquarters, Complex, Osogbo, Osun State, Damaturu, Yobe State, and Zone 11 Zonal Headquarters Office, Osogbo. He participated fully in PTF General Renovation of Police College Maiduguri in 1997 to 1998. He served as the pioneer general manager, chief executive officer of Nigerian Police Force Property Development and Construction Company. We have 400 units of 2-bedroom flats were constructed within 4 months under social welfare housing program for junior police officer in Katsina, Yola, Benin, and Enugu. He is a member of various professional bodies and award beneficial researchers, a state member of Nigeria Institute of Management, corporate member of Nigeria Institute of Building, Registered Builder Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, EDM Archive Award of Department of Engineering and Design Management of Ibadan University, Ile-Ife, 2018 Merit Award of Central Council of Ibadan Indigene. Since his retirement, he has been participating in estate development, construction, and hospitality business. He is currently the chairman, chief executive officer of Adecon Limited. He is religiously and married with children. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my uncle, retired AIG Oladipupo. Please proceed. It's Major General now. I call him Mohammed Lawal Ogwe, Major General Mohammed Lawal Ogwe. Please, any representative? It's not around? Okay. Omalara should be on the alert. Now, should we call Brigadier General? Okay, Brigadier General Ogu. Brigadier General Ogu. They wanted to come and stand for him.
And it's also staff for the force.
Brigadier General Ogu.
Congratulations.
Please, let's give him a round of applause. Onihide Omalara Titilayo, please. Onihide Omalara Titilayo. Onihide Omalara Titilayo. Onihide Omalara Titilayo is an articulate, accomplished administrative executive. Are we presenting? Yes. Thank you, our plan. Adewale Idris Adeniyi, please come forward. Adewale Idris Adeniyi. Adewale Idris Adeniyi. Adewale Idris Adeniyi, seasoned investment banker and consultant with many years of experience in capital market. Congratulations. Please collect your award plaque. Put your award plaque. That's your award plaque. Yes, that is the award plaque. Congratulations. Franklin Sani Musa is the one collecting it too. Yes. Sani Musa. Don't go away. It's the next one. Zara Jemima Dogo. Sulaiman Babatunde Mohammed. Sulaiman Babatunde Mohammed. Akindele Olubukola Afolake. Opobola Dibuko Bola. Atulete Iyabode Abike. Elvi Lucky. Bolanko Victor, Mman Moses Mfe, is he here? Moses Mfe, Oketa Christopher Oketa, Audu Israel Idoko, Audu Israel, look, Audu Israel is here. Balogun Olamide, okay, Balogun Olamide, are you around? Balogun Olamide, is it for Audu or Balogun Olamide? Wait, no, present it to me. Usman Abdullahi, you can go there. Usman Abdullahi, Umma Etima David, Undra Mohammed, Undra Imran Mohammed. Is she around? Oh, is he around? Okay, that is Imran Mohammed. If you go to our Facebook page, you will be watching this induction live and direct from Abuja. Look at us. Omotayo Emmanuel Taiwo. Omotayo Emmanuel Taiwo. Barua Bukola Bumi. Ibrahim Emmanuel Simpson. Veronica Maradin Ozohu. Emmanuel Samson. Ibrahim Emmanuel. Mohammed Isa Goma. Okay, look at that. Magdalene Ozohu. Just go there. Magdalene. Adam Umar Yakubu. Mohammed Musa Goma. Isa, sorry. Isa. Nama Emeka. Mustafa Abdulmumin Nuhu. Yaya Sadiq. Ibidogun Samuel Adekunle. Olúwakẹ́mi Banjo, please. Olúwakẹ́mi, hold on, this is your certificate. So Olúwakẹ́mi Banjo, fellow. Okeke Esther. Look at me. Khadija Ibrahim. Yaya Yusuf. Okore Matthew. Ogbefo Joy, Ọpẹ́yẹmí, Favour Cyril, Akíjílédé Greg, Bolos Desmond, Ògúnyẹmí Taiwo, Hassan Adima Aziz, Ọpẹ́yẹmí Taiwo àbí? Yes. Khadija Ibrahim, I think I've called the name. Ọpẹ́yẹmí, Umar Akíjíṣẹ́, no, Bolos, Hassan Alima, Adébíyí Abdullahi, Morris, Bolos. Okay, that's my Bolos. Take it. Look at me.
Okay. Look at me.
Okay.
Look at me. It's okay.
Okay, Kiesta.
Look at me.
Khadija Ibrahim.
Look at me.
Rapuyemi Temitope Taiwo.
Look at me. Yeah.
Mr. Adebumai is here. Mr. Adebumai Abdulganiu Adeyemi, please. Mr. Adebumai.
Look at me.
That's it, register. So the rest, you never hear your name, you meet us later, we will settle everything. So I want to quickly hand over my microphone to the Registrar General of the Institute of Chartered Imams of Nigeria to give us the vote of thanks.
Mr. President, DG, members of the ITEM, inductees of all categories, it is my pleasure to have you into the Institute as members. This is a historic occasion that we are all rejoicing together because of your presence. We want to thank all of you for coming, and for those you invited that came along with you to celebrate with you. We thank God that this very occasion has come to an end, and very soon we'll be leaving this venue. We want to pray that God, who brought us all here safely, will take everyone safe back to our different destinations. And God will keep you, that from now we'll be hearing good stories from our members. At the state, we want to hear appointments of the Commissioner of Finance or Commissioner of Economic Planning, and then ministers will come out of our people that are here today. We congratulate you and we rejoice with you. The Institute is happy that we have grown today. The number of our membership has grown higher than what we had. As we go back to our destination, please carry the flag of ISEND and God will help you. Thank you so very much for coming. We wish you a safe journey. Thank you.
Congratulations for successful
No, President has created history. This is the first time. Okay, we arrested you. Dr. Felix arrested you.
Now you have Dr. Felix. Congratulations for successful election.
Emeka, where is not arrested? I have repented. No, never repent. See, I have repented. Don't you know?
nothing less. Lead me to my destiny. I have waited patiently. I have vision, I believe. I know I can count. Stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up.
just like that's how it is, 'cause we have our strengths and weaknesses. Oh, I have vision, can't you see? I'm on the move, make way for me. Stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up. And when I fall down, I have to pick myself back up. And when I fall down, I have to pick myself back up. And when I fall down, I have to pick myself back up. And when I fall down, I have to pick myself up. Stand up, stand up. Patiently, I have vision, though I believe. I know I can count on me. So stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, here we go, it's getting close. Now it's just who wants it most. It's just like that's how it is, 'cause we have our strengths and weaknesses. Oh, I have vision, can't you see? I'm on the make a way for me. Stand up, for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up. For the champions, for the champions. Stand up, for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up. For the champions, for the champions. Stand up. And when I fall down, I have to pick myself back up. And when I fall down, I have to pick myself back up. And when I fall down, I have to pick myself back up. And when I fall down, I have to pick myself back up. Stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up.
Everything you put your hand for, you never open doors. You said to be a boss. Amen. Everything you put your hand for, you never open doors. You said to be a boss.
What did he do? She refused you. Not you. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not the people that cover.
You can use this one. Which of your camera man? I don't understand.
You see, no doing interview with our camera guys. I say he even left us where we are waiting for him just to hear him.
Hey, come. Do you know any other cameraman apart from this other person?
I'm not saying that it's your own.
I know. Do you know any other cameraman apart from my I don't know. No, I don't want to know. I don't know. Because what are you eating? You are inviting the press. All the press will come. Before you do anything, you need to introduce yourself.
Immediately I came, I came to speak with him.
It was nice for people that you introduce yourself to me.
Even last year.
And I made them understand what we are doing. We are not against them. Those are news. What other news again? Everything about this seminar is paper. It's just for the federal government to establish a national policy. That is all. That is all. We said everything. There's nothing you can do now that you will do from what you have already had. It's like, if you say you were here from the beginning as a journalist, you will capture all these things. If you go to our Facebook page now, from the beginning, opening prayer to you will get the details.
I'm your friend of Facebook. It's very sincere.
Yeah, I'm a friend of Facebook.
I said the first time you came to the just like, I'll be your friend. I have your card. I have your card.
I felt best friends.
Yes.